Imagine this, a cop, well-respected, experienced, someone you'd never expect to vanish, gone, without a single trace. He goes on a routine hunting trip, and suddenly, the trail goes cold. No clues, no sightings, nothing. Years pass, and just when everyone starts to give up on the case, bam! His abandoned truck is found in the middle of nowhere. But wait, it gets worse. Inside that truck, there's a body, but not his. Someone else's. A stranger. And that's just the beginning. Who was this man? How did he end up in the truck? And what could possibly connect him to a missing cop? This isn't just a case of a missing person anymore. It's a tangled web of mystery, and trust me, the truth will blow your mind. Stick around, because what we uncover next will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. Keep watching, you don't want to miss this. John Matthews wasn't just any cop. He was a seasoned officer who had spent over 15 years in law enforcement, making a name for himself in the quiet, sleepy town of Ashford. Everyone in town knew John. He was the kind of guy who'd give you the shirt off his back, always willing to lend a hand, whether it was helping out with a local charity or just offering a listening ear. He wasn't known for making waves or rocking the boat. In fact, many people described him as the quiet one. But that all changed one fateful November day. John had decided to go on a routine hunting trip. Nothing extraordinary, just a weekend getaway to escape the stress of work and reconnect with nature. The trip was meant to be nothing more than a peaceful retreat. The plan was simple: drive into the woods, set up camp, hunt for a few days, and come back home. But that never happened. It was just a regular Friday morning when John packed up his truck and headed out, leaving behind the quiet town of Ashford and its sleepy streets. But when he didn't return by Sunday night, people started to wonder. Still, no one panicked. After all, it was common for people to get caught up in the wilderness. Sometimes a person would lose track of time, or maybe their truck had broken down. But when Monday came and went without a sign, concern turned into a full-fledged search. The search for John Matthews began almost immediately. Authorities, along with local volunteers, scoured the dense woods, the area where John was last seen, and even neighboring towns. But the deeper they searched, the more perplexing the situation became. His truck was nowhere to be found. No tracks leading away from his campsite. No signs of struggle. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. John's family was beside themselves. His wife, Claire, couldn't understand how this was happening. John was the last person to just disappear. He had a reputation for being meticulous, cautious, and, above all, prepared. This wasn't like him. For days, the investigation unfolded with little to no results. A search of the woods yielded no clues. His camping gear remained untouched. Not a single piece of evidence gave them any indication of what had happened. Had he fallen victim to an accident? Could he have wandered off, disoriented and lost? But if that was the case, why hadn't he returned or sent out a distress signal? As the days turned into weeks, the case grew colder and rumors began to swirl. Speculations about foul play circulated, but nothing substantial came forward. Theories ranged from the possibility that John had been involved in a personal conflict with someone to more bizarre notions about him running away from his life. But none of it made sense. John Matthews was not the type of person to vanish without a trace. The fact that no one could find him, or even find a shred of evidence, was enough to leave everyone scratching their heads. The case had gone cold, and over time, John Matthews' disappearance became a haunting, unresolved mystery. People moved on with their lives. The town continued its quiet existence. But then, out of nowhere, something strange happened. It was 5 years later when a routine search was being conducted in the woods, an area that had previously been searched multiple times. A team of hikers and local volunteers were combing through the forest when they stumbled upon something that stopped them dead in their tracks. John's truck. The exact same truck. The one he had driven into the woods all those years ago. At first, no one believed it. They thought it was a mistake, a truck abandoned by someone else. But upon closer inspection, they realized it was John's vehicle. The doors were unlocked. the keys still in the ignition. No sign of a struggle, no attempt to break in. But what made the discovery even more chilling was the presence of something in the back seat of the truck. Inside, there was a body. A dead man. It wasn't John Matthews. The body found in the truck wasn't identified immediately, but it was clear that this was no ordinary discovery. The man was not John, and he had been dead for some time. The condition of the body suggested that the man had been left in the truck for several years, possibly since John had gone missing. The discovery sent shockwaves through the investigation. Who was this man? Why was he in John's truck? And, most disturbingly, why was the truck left in such a remote location? It made no sense. The authorities quickly moved in, conducting an autopsy to determine the cause of death and try to identify the man. The results were as strange as the discovery itself. The man's injuries weren't consistent with any known criminal activity or physical altercation. There were no obvious signs of a struggle. However, the body was badly decomposed, which indicated that it had been there for quite some time. When the investigation team dug deeper into the man's background, they were surprised by what they uncovered. This wasn't just a random person. The man in the truck had a criminal past. His name was Thomas Bellamy, a fugitive wanted for several unsolved crimes. But how did he end up in John Matthews' truck? As investigators combed through Thomas Bellamy's background, they began to uncover a series of connections that sent a chill down their spines. Bellamy had a long history of criminal behavior, including theft, assault, and even attempted murder. But what really got the authorities' attention was his connection to a much bigger criminal organization. In the months leading up to John Matthews' disappearance, there had been whispers about law enforcement's involvement with criminal groups in the area. Some thought it was just talk, but now, with the discovery of Bellamy's body, it seemed like there might be a hidden connection between John and the very world he had spent years protecting people from. Could John have been involved in something darker than anyone realized? Authorities began looking into whether John had been investigating Bellamy and his connections to organized crime. And that's when they found something that would change everything. A deeper investigation into John Matthews' personal life and work began to reveal startling truths. John wasn't just the family man everyone knew. He had been investigating corruption within the police department. The discovery of Bellamy's body pointed to a possible cover-up, and it began to seem like John Matthews had stumbled into something much bigger than he could handle. A secret network of criminals, with ties to law enforcement, may have been operating right under everyone's nose. What was even more shocking was the idea that John may have been taken out because he got too close to exposing this criminal ring. Could his disappearance have been orchestrated by the very people he worked with? The implications were terrifying. Investigators began digging into John's last known movements. They found evidence that pointed to a secret investigation that John had been working on, one that he kept hidden from even his closest friends and family. Was it possible that John had uncovered something he wasn't supposed to? Something that led to his untimely disappearance? After months of investigation and piecing together John Matthews' final days, the case reached an unsettling conclusion. While many of the details remained unclear, one thing was certain: John had been caught up in a much larger, more dangerous game. The connection between Bellamy and organized crime was deeper than anyone had initially thought. Despite the ongoing mystery of what happened to John, one thing was clear: his disappearance was no accident. Someone wanted him gone, and they had gone to great lengths to ensure he wouldn't be able to tell the truth. The story of John Matthews is one of betrayal, corruption, and a tragic sacrifice for justice. But the full story may never be told. What do you think happened to John Matthews? Was he the victim of a larger conspiracy, or did something else happen in those final days? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to see more unsolved mysteries like this, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next jaw-dropping story.